until Lisa walked in the room, I was just kind of a wreck and just really stressing out. So I'm going to tell you the story of when I had my first daughter, and for anybody out there who's had a baby before, you know how terrifying it is as you get closer to giving birth. Just the very idea of what it entails and the fear of the pain that you're going to experience, and just the worry about all the things that could possibly go wrong. As I got closer, I was really worried about how it was going to go, and I went to this clinic where every time you went in there, you saw a different doctor. And so I didn't have a regular doctor that I was going to see. It was going to be whoever was on call for the clinic. And that made me a little nervous, especially because it was my first time. And the first time you give birth, you really don't know what to expect. It's very overwhelming. So I was really nervous. So I went into labor in the middle of the night, and I called the helpline. And they told me, we're really busy. Can you talk through a contraction? I said, yeah, I'm having one right now. And they said, oh, well, it's gonna be a really long time. It's your first baby. You're fine. Don't call us back until you can't talk through a contraction. And so I, just puttered around and took a bath, and and they were just getting closer and stronger and closer and stronger and longer. And so I called back. And I said, I could still talk through a contraction. I'm having one right now, but I'd like it if I could just come in and just, go to triage and just figure out where I'm at and make sure, because they're just really close. And so, and they were, they had said, we're really busy. We have a lot of people here right now, so don't come if you aren't ready to come. And so I talked them into letting me come. And so I get there, and they triaged me, and everyone in the room just started panicking. They're like, oh my gosh, she's like 80% effaced, and like, she said 8 centimeters, and they're just like, ah. And I'm like, oh, am I far along? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know. I thought I was, the contractions are pretty close. So the day, the whole experience started off where I felt like the person on the phone really wasn't hearing me, and I felt like I wasn't really being listened to. And the doctor that came in when they got me in a room was the one doctor that I really was hoping not to see from the clinic, because he just had terrible bedside manner and was not very empathetic. And so it was just a really rough start to the whole experience for someone who was already like super anxious about it and had never done this before and was already pretty, worried about how it was going to go. And so until Lisa walked in the room, I was just kind of a wreck and just really stressing out. And she was the nurse, the labor and delivery nurse that was assigned to me, and she was amazing. She made the whole experience, as stressful as it could have been, she made it wonderful. Like, she just immediately, when she walked in the room, started talking to me, like, everything just came down a huge notch, and my anxiety went way down, and I just felt like, okay, she knows what's going on. And she listened to me. So she was really good at like listening to where I was at, and instead of telling me, well, this is what your experience is gonna be because it's your first time, she was like, okay, so tell me about, how it's been going, how quickly the contractions have been, building up. And she got the monitor on there and really heard me and was like, yeah, you're making progress really quickly. I'm gonna get the doctor. So he comes in and he's like, well, it's your first time, so I'm gonna rupture your membranes, and then I'm gonna go do a cesarean, and maybe about 3-4 hours we might be ready to push. So he does that, ruptures the membrane, leaves the room. I'm pushing 20 minutes later. Like, it was just boom. And even though it was my first time, which apparently is unusual, like, I progressed extremely quickly. My transition was really fast. And so through all of that, I see other people in the room starting to like run around, and they're trying to get a hold of the doctor, and he's in the middle of a cesarean and all that. She just stayed so calm and was even like joking a little bit, and just, made every effort to kind of like bring my stress down and kind of tell me what was going on and where we were at, what the plan was, very reassuring. And she delivered that baby. I mean, she was, I don't think she even needed the doctor, honestly. I mean, technically, legally, they needed a doctor, but like, I felt like she was more in charge than anybody else. And if she hadn't been there, I think the experience would have been really different for me, for my family. My daughter was born, her oxygen was kind of low, so she immediately like got her into the bubble and, you know, got her to the, it wasn't really a full NICU, but like got her into the room where they could give her the additional care, and did a great job of coming back in and communicating with me what was going on with my daughter, because of course I'm anxious when they had to whisk her out of the room. If she hadn't been there, I would have just been a train wreck, but because she was there, I knew she knew what she was doing, and that made me feel like everything was going to be okay. And it was. Everything was fine. It was lovely. She was a great baby, and I just, every time I think of that day, I think about Lisa. And you know, I think nurses sometimes forget the impact they can have, you know, on people, and we're just there for a short time and then we leave, and so maybe they don't know that we remember them. But you know, I want Lisa and all the other nurses to know that we remember you. We remember what you do for us and for our families, and we appreciate you so much. And you know, you guys are amazing. You save lives every day. You help people through the most difficult experiences of their lives, and you make it look so easy. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you, all the nurses out there.